So this is the episode that does not want to be recorded.
It's like those 90s like Jerry Springer specials, like Too Hot for Television.
Facts.
Between personal health issues, mental health issues,
Power outages.
What else? Like there were many things.
You know, Jaina and I breaking Skype as soon as we came into
the
I
fabled
heard her
join
go,
call of 10 minutes.
Yeah, why is my face not appearing? Well, what if I do this? And then just black, like, Jay? And we were both kicked out of the Skype call.
This recording, this episode, is so set against being recorded that I fully expect, like, it's not storming out anymore. There's no more power outages. I got electrocuted today because of shorts in the house. But I think this episode is cursed, which is appropriate because it's Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it.
Are we? We just started. We haven't even officially started yet.
There's still a chance for the world to fuck us over.
So you're telling me there's...
And then we'll just upload this at that point.
Here's an episode. It's 5 minutes long, then it's just the intro because
we hit record.
God came down from the heavens, or whatever religious affiliation you have, and specifically struck us down because this episode cannot happen.
Wouldn't this be a great time for the world to end, and then, like, this recording stops, gets synced to the cloud, years and years later, people find this podcast like we've talked about in the post-apocalyptic wasteland, and the last thing we upload is like, or the last thing they find recorded is like, well, this episode just hasn't wanted to be recorded. We can't seem to make it happen. And then the world ended.
The Squibbins have finally found a way to tap into the internet that the ancient humans had. And they find the last thing recorded in the history of humankind is Star Wars every week forever. God. Thus living up to its name. And they're like, unlike us, what's a Star Wars? And I am jealous of them. Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, the podcast in which we watch one Star Wars movie every week forever. This week, The Rise of Skywalker. Ben, how was your watch?
I'm in pain. Great pain.
Were you electrocuted today as well?
Suffering is a current mental state. A chronic mental state, if you will.
I like that you said the word chronic as if it was a big word as you put on your glasses.
This movie has hurt me psychologically. This project is the only thing keeping me going right now.
Hold on. We are in a safe space. We have chosen the, I don't know, Garden of Eden or fucking meditation of Bajor Skype background. We are here to heal.
The only thing helping me heal right now is mac and cheese.
Why do you have to eat on the show?
Where did that even come from? You just flew in mac and cheese from off camera.
Well, to be fair, there's this weird like wall on this Skype group that like I could literally not leave the camera and disappear in this Skype thing.
Well, you're down a little lower than I am. I think my chair's up too high. Ooh.
Today on Star Wars Every Week Forever, we play Limbo.
Chris, how was your watch?
It is currently August 1st. The Olympics are currently happening, on a related note, this movie could be in the Olympics of bad fucking movies, and it would get the gold. Big ol' victory for this movie. Fucking sucks. All right, I don't. Jay, how was your watch?
It was okay. It wasn't a great sync, but it was okay. I'm back on my bullshit. If you remember the first like 2 rotations, I was like, yeah, you got to watch the movie early in the week, and then that way you have all week to just do whatever and not think about Star Wars. I did that this time because my Spotify Premium was running out, and I wanted to cancel it before it ran out, so I could do the They Might Be Giants thing. I edited the show and watched the movie at the very beginning of the week, and I had a great week. Or at least in terms of Star Wars, that regard, great week. I didn't have to think about Star Wars for 5 days. So there you go. I'm probably never going to do it again, but it was nice while it lasted.
I had the opposite problem because there was a I won't go into details because I know a lot of people don't watch it or still have to watch it, Christopher. But we had a spicy Bad Batch episode this week with a bunch of like background shit that nobody but people like me would notice. And I keep hitting my Star Wars group chat like, hey guys, this episode was great. Did you watch it yet? Hey guys, and I'm at the point where I'm not getting answers anymore. And I'm feeling starved for attention.
We would let you talk about it, but Chris is not catched up and also is missing fully from the call.
He's here somewhere.
Hi.
Oh, there he is. Hi.
I thought I broke my chair, but that might just be high. I don't know.
Speaking of being high, you had a thought.
Yeah, what if this fucking stupid podcast is the only way some ancient civilization knows about fucking Star Wars and it becomes like a fucking religion?
Peek behind the scenes.
Welcome to Star Wars every week forever.
Chris started to go on this rant in the intro, and I was like, hold that thought. We'll talk about it in the episode because this intro
is already like 20 minutes long.
Our intro was getting lengthy.
Our intro is just going. People are looking at the timer like, what the fuck? What is this? What podcast is this?
The difference between Chris presenting it the first time and what you just heard is night and day. That said, great point. Let's explore this mind palace that you have presented. What the fuck happens?
Star Wars is already a cult.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
The Irish drunkard led the Messiah through the desert where they were almost run over by Darth Maul.
I don't want to divert from the point, but I really had the realization that Kylo tried to Darth Maul Rey in this movie today.
Yeah.
When I watched it. We've never spent time on that, but he straight up, when he was told to just capture her, tried to Darth Maul her in the middle of the desert.
No, I'm pretty sure at that point he was told
with the
to
starship.
Palpatine told him to kill her at that point.
Maybe, but
that was when he was like, "Kill the girl."
Oh yeah, you're right.
And he was like, "I'm not gonna do it," and then he tried to run her over anyway.
It's a long Star Wars tradition to try to run people over with vehicular manslaughter.
Yeah,
in the desert specifically.
Maybe you know how.
It is always.
You did what, Kylo?
I know there's like the famous story of the Native American guy that served in World War II and like completed his trials to become like a war chief while fighting in the war. Like, you know, you had to like you had to like touch an enemy and all that. Maybe Palpatine has certain trials to become his apprentice, and one of the first ones is run over a person in the desert.
That he specifically does not want run over.
Yeah, that's one of Palpatine's apprentice trials.
Okay, but like, you couldn't blame Kylo for that because he was literally told, kill her.
Just like you couldn't blame Darth Maul for trying to run over. Well, you can't.
Well,
I mean, for different reasons you can blame him. For different reasons you can blame him because it's ethically wrong in every capacity. But in terms of being an evil shit that is the Padawan of the future emperor of the universe, you can't blame him for thinking that Palpatine wouldn't care, even though, the most long-played batshit plan of sorts hinged on this 10-year-old plan. We had a plan with air quotations.
Plans on a 10-year-old. I think that should just be. I mean, are there many more predictable groups of people than 10-year-olds to hinge?
If you can't trust them to be a ring bearer, how would you trust them with the fate of the galaxy and putting you in power?
10-year-olds.
No, not even 10-year-olds anymore. I want to talk about the Squibbins finding Star Wars every week forever.
We're going back to this.
Yes, we're going back to this because I didn't mean to divert from it.
Yeah, that's just
ADHD is really too powerful.
What would they think of Star Wars?
Well, that's the thing. It's like a merging of bits we've done before. It's like, our shit being discovered by someone who's never seen Star Wars. What do they think of Star Wars? It's like,
well, at least in terms of us doing this and someone who hasn't seen Star Wars, it's famous enough through pop culture that they would identify certain things. The future Squibbins, and yes, I will continue to push forward the future is wild Squibbins as the race that will exist. Let me have my squid people. Watch Future is Wild. They will have no pop culture context. So they have no idea what we're talking about. They would think Darth Vader isn't a villain. They would think he's just some depressed guy. They would think Palpatine was indeed a pirate.
How have we turned Darth Vader into Galir in this downtime Darth pitch?
Galir from Fantasy High?
Yeah. Just Darth Vader eating expired yogurt.
Like, they would think that there was a long, extravagant dinner that happened in the middle of the middle movie of the entire series.
The dinner scene is like our religion's Last Supper.
Oh God, would it become a religion?
So I'm saying, like, if they found these texts, would it become a religion? Like, that's why I said, Qui-Gon escorting the Messiah through the desert, and here comes Darth Maul to run him down.
Would there be sacrifices where they create what they think a motorcycle is and run over a child? I'm suddenly ethically against the very existence of our podcast.
Well, listen, in the future, if you're listening to Squibbins in the future, don't start a cult in our name. We're not. Let's put that out there right now.
Hold on, wait, but this could work to our advantage.
Oh, Jesus. Are we trying to do millennia after our deaths? Are we trying to start like a multi-level marketing scheme?
All I'm saying is, if we start working to plant the seeds now.
It works in a strange way, because all of us have said together that our goal with this podcast is to get discovered 10, 20, 30 years down the line and say, what the fuck is this? Well, millions of years down the line works too.
What would be funny is if it just goes full cyberpunk out here and we're putting our brains into computers and shit, so people are just living forever. And I'd be like, oh, well, we shouldn't have put forever in the title of this podcast, because now we just have to do this podcast forever. Because
I'm telling you, there should be 100-year out, just in case.
100-year out.
Yeah, when you turn 100, you're out no matter what.
Existentially scarred, Ben.
I brought this up on the podcast before, but we should just make if you turn 100, you're out no matter what. You don't have to do this anymore.
I think that's a good rule of thumb to follow in general. Just listen, 100's enough. Nobody wants to go past 100. 100's enough.
It's also a just in case if it turns into Futurama heads in jars. Like, if you just subsist like that, it's just in case so that if you live forever, you don't have to do it forever.
I am living in eternal dread of this reality we have now dreamt up.
So, Rise of Skywalker, the date at which we are recording the last Star Wars movie.
I don't want to talk about this movie. If I'm being real,
Me neither.
I don't want to talk about this fucking movie.
Well, let's just rail against it, because I have a lot of rants.
We gotta build up some momentum here.
That?
Okay.
How much can we do that? We have railed against this movie, and we're just...
Alright, so, fucking light speed skipping. We're talking about this, because it fucking pissed me off today.
So much for the Zen Garden spiel. Go for it.
Fucking last week, we just got done watching a fucking movie where, like, half the plot, like, 80% of plot was just, oh no, people can follow us in light space. And then the literal next fucking movie, it's like, oh no, there's like 2 TIE fighters after us. We gotta run. And they light speed jump, and the TIE fighters just follow them because they just know when to jump out of light speed at the same time for some reason.
Yeah, the thing that was lost in that was that they were out of fuel in The Last Jedi, but the thing that should be noted is that somehow they figured out how to fucking light speed, like follow people through light speed in a TIE fighter rather than the giant capital ship.
I mean, the biggest thing with this is light speed is something that shouldn't be fucked with because it's such a bullshit popcorn sci-fi explanation for what it is that if you scrutinize it at all, it just falls apart.
And it is, but it's very clearly defined in the expanded Star Wars universe.
And then completely ripped apart by the movies.
Exactly.
Well, that's the thing, because
and not just these movies.
No.
Lightspeed was described generally, when it was expanded upon as like they're basically hopping through reality. It's not just they're going super fast. They're like
they're going into
a planes of existence,
a separate dimension called hyperspace, which is like it's the best description I've heard of it that makes sense is like anyone who's played Minecraft. The Nether is like much smaller in comparison to the Minecraft like overworld. So if you need to get a far distance, you can go through a portal into the Nether, travel a shorter distance, come out the other side, and you'll be further away than you would have been normally.
Or a less one-to-one, the ethereal or far or outside the planes of existence in D&D, where you could just see every world that ever was barely coherently, but you can't travel through it, so I guess it's not one-to-one. Can I jump off of this a little bit for a similar complaint? All of these movies, I feel like every release has gotten worse with this. And like from A New Hope all the way to the release of Rise of Skywalker, all of them have gotten worse with this in order of release. But especially this movie. The way that time works is batshit.
Yeah.
There's no... Things could be happening on 2 different sides of the galaxy, and yet somehow characters they happen congruently, and yet somehow they come together at the exact right time, no matter, like there's no rules to it. I brought this up in a previous episode in regards to Kylo Ren and Rey, like the investigation that Kylo does somehow being in the matter of seconds. But also, the plot itself doesn't make any sense when you start to pick it apart congruently as the plot progresses. Because everything is happening on a timeline that does not sync with everything. So if someone's in another galaxy, far, far away, and you are in a spot far, far away from that, they can get to you in 0.2 seconds just to benefit except in one case, and that's the fleet of the galaxy from the core worlds, which show up late.
A long time ago.
Yeah, our time versus relative.
Yeah. I mean, it's all relative.
Like, it starts to get really bad in Revenge of the Sith when you have, like, several days pass on Coruscant, while Anakin Skywalker is standing in the middle of a base for seemingly days.
Oh,
And then
you got shit like even in fucking Empire Strikes Back, it was like kind of wonky. We have no idea how long Luke was training. Like from the outset of the way the movie presents it, you have no idea how long Luke was training. You have no idea how long everyone was on Bespin. You have no idea how long it even took them to get to Bespin from Hoth.
That's the thing, though. It's gotten worse with every movie.
Yeah.
And slowly the explanations have completely disappeared. In Empire, it's the second movie, so it's not as bad as it will be in the future. You can make the excuse that they were on Cloud City for, a week. That makes sense.
Can I do... This is going to be scandalous. Can I be the defense in this argument?
Sure, if you're willing for us to pick it apart like crazy.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's a simple defense. It's we don't talk about this much on the podcast, but as someone who writes quite often and is currently writing something, initially was planning on, showing a very distinct timeline of like, here's when this is happening, here's when this is happening, here, like very specifically, and then realizing as that progressed, going, oh, this fucking sucks. This is a nightmare trying to do a narrative when you're scrutinizing so much the exact specific time in which each thing is taking place and like tracking that and showing that. So, and that's not to excuse it entirely, like, well, they could have given you a vague idea, like, oh, we've been here for a week already, and we can, just vague little things like that. But like, the timeline doesn't really, but it's silly, it's goofy, but I don't.
No, I see. Like, it's more a product of just the writers needing people to be certain places, and it's just very hard to like encompass all of that when plotting your.
And also, from a filmmaking perspective or any kind of story perspective, you're going for a specific tone that you want to go across a period, and if you follow it congruently, you drop that tone very easily, because on one end you have a very depressing scene, and on the other somebody could be having fucking dinner with somebody or something. That's part of the reason why Attack of the Clones is such a hard movie, because it is tone all over the place, because one doesn't lead into another. There isn't so I get that perspective, that you need to keep a tone through it, and sometimes that requires some jumping around. I would contend this is the worst case of this in the entire Star Wars franchise.
Oh,
yeah.
Because I think it's worth bringing up in this, because it's much like any plot device in this movie. The only explanation you can give as to why someone can get halfway across the galaxy is, we needed them to be there. And that's it. We needed to get them from point A to point B. And that's it. That's the only, like, it's absolutely nuts.
But like, on that same note, so like, I'm gonna try and bring this back around to light speed skipping. No, because I could build on this. Because like, how densely packed is a galaxy? Because like, Poe literally flips a switch, hops into fucking hyperspace for like a second, and pulls it back, and he's in the middle of like a goddamn planet. And he does that 4 separate times.
Yeah.
Like,
why?
Galaxies are not this densely like, if you do that 4 separate times, you are gonna end up in the middle of fucking nowhere. In the middle of the vacuum of space 4 separate times.
Or in the middle of the molten core of a planet.
Well, and also...
But that's very, very, very highly unlikely, is my point.
My biggest problem with the way this works is they're trying to go too high concept, like, oh, they're actually popping out of reality and popping back in or whatever, but like, they're not doing any of the consequences that come with that. You can't just... Nothing can just pop back into like reality without there being some sort of a consequence or a ripple or a something. So them just popping into the middle of this fucking planet and like almost hit it, there should be something. It shouldn't just be, well, we're here now. Like,
and we know, I'm gonna get nerdy because fuck this. We know based on the first movie where hyperspace is established that there are calculations that you must make in order to get from point A to point B. How the hell are you able to so precisely calculate where you are going in the atmosphere of planets on the fly that you don't end up in the core of a planet? Because that is a pinpoint on a planet of the galaxy. Because the galaxy, like every planet could be fit into a small portion of the galaxy. It is such a minute area that there's no way you can calculate it that fast. And I know it's only done because it looks cool. And I shouldn't do this thing that I'm doing right now, but it's nuts. If they had just, all they had to do was do a bunch of space shots, and I would have let this go. But because they decided for it to be in the atmosphere of planets, I hate it.
Well, I mean,
that's what I was kind of getting at too.
Because they had to allude that I guess we were at Bespin for a second.
Well, that's if we are going to go on, if we're going to take everything Star Wars tells us about how light speed works and how light speed skipping works, and like you said, the precision that would be required to do all of that, that would make, with, I think no exaggeration, Poe the greatest pilot the galaxy has ever seen.
Not just pilot, he would be the Albert Einstein of his time. He would be so far mathematically ahead of anyone else that exists in the universe.
I'm going to go ahead and call this a JJ-ism.
It is a JJ-ism.
Because Han Solo does some also very inexplicable bullshit with hyperspace in the last movie. I know it doesn't compare as much, but it's still like on the same plane.
Which, by the way, The Force Awakens also has perfect examples of the thing that I was just railing against, because somehow Rey is able to get from prison and still be climbing up the middle of the fucking base in the amount of time it takes Han to talk about Starkiller Base and then arrive and then walk through the snowy tundra.
And then interrogate Phasma, dispose of her.
That's how long Rey took to climb. Listen, it's just really hard on the muscles, okay? Anyway, I forget. I didn't mean to derail from light speed skipping because this really pisses me off, and I'm glad we're paying some attention to it.
Light speed skipping reinforces the explanation of they are, going through hyperspace, which is a separate dimension or whatever. But then if that's the case, how are we explaining the big dramatic light speed through a ship thing? Do they have to propel forward to go into the what's, so they're just going forward really fast sometimes, but not all the time, but also
my kind of head canon in that case is the ship has to have some form of acceleration to enter hyperspace.
Back to the
because your trajectory does determine where you're going.
Which brings us back to light speed.
So, in my head,
because the momentum it would take to jump between pinpoint to pinpoint across the galaxy would destroy a planet.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't think with that small amount of mass, I don't think it would.
It absolutely would, because speed requires mass.
No, you're correct. But if fuck, what I want to cite a source. I was watching a video, and it was some dude like freaking out over the Holdo maneuver, because if you look at the specifications of the ships of the Radis and Snoke's capital ship.
This is the nerdiest we've ever
It's
gotten.
the nerdiest fucking shit.
This is a Kevin Smith script.
I'm panicking and looking left and right because I'm like, oh my god, hold on, I think we sounded smart for a second. Ben is citing.
That ship
we sound like nerds.
To hit it at the speed that it's implied, it would not cut all the way through and shatter all the ships behind it and all that shit. It would do some damage.
But I can take that. Like,
but that ship should have been intact still. Snoke's ship.
Listen, I don't want to go so full of shit that I will completely get rid of the ability to, like, I can take leaps of faith. What I can't take leaps of faith on is light speed skipping.
Suspension of disbelief.
My suspension of disbelief is broken because of the way that I understand the universe. And keep in mind, the Star Wars universe might have a completely different understanding of gravity, mass, so on and so forth than we do, because that it is believed by science that might be the case. But it seems to work an awful lot like we do. So that's why I don't accept that explanation. And because of what Phasma, because of what Holdo did, it explains propulsion and mass, which means those planets should have been absolutely destroyed in the effort. We are such fucking geeks. This is ridiculous. It had to happen at some point.
This is probably as bad as we've gotten so far.
This is the worst. For those of you that really enjoy
what Holdo's metachlorian count is.
Fuck me.
For those of you that really want us to talk about Star Wars more, you really don't based on this conversation, do you?
What I'm saying is, if Holdo can pull off fucking maneuvers like that, she should be pod racing.
In the words of They Might Be Giants, science is real, and let's talk about my sinks.
I love when I get Jay to the point where she's just like, fuck it, shut everything down.
I saw my exit ramp. I saw my exit ramp. The show, the movie this time opened with she was a hotel detective, and it's never synced well, but she was a hotel detective being like so in my mind the entire time because it just sinks in such weird places has been wonderful across the board. As is youth culture killed my dog. Starts with these strings that are straight out of a Tarantino movie that works so well for Kylo walking into the Exegol lab. It definitely does not work for the rest of the scene though. There's these extremely distorted technical sounds that cuts into chess piece face that covers the close-up of Rey training, and the lyrics to the song kick in at the end of the zoom, which is quite good. I Hope I Get Old Before I Die has these comedic industrial sounds that work hilariously well with Kylo putting his hand on the Vader helmet. Rhythm Section 1 ad playing over the whole gang finally getting together, minus Rose because JJ hates Rose, was pretty good. The lyrics, he ended up sad, he ended up really, really sad from Mr. Me plays over Chewie running into the desert to catch up with Rey, and the Knights of Ren watching him, which is also very good. The World's Address, the song that I mentioned in regards to Ben in the first episode, was a terrible sync with its very tropical sound over Chewie's fake out death, which also brings up a side point. So this movie is built around the fall and redemption of Rey, right? Like, the entire movie is based around that. Why would you do that fake out and then tell her she didn't kill Chewie? You can tell the audience that Chewie isn't dead, but if that's the means you're trying to fulfill, why have her know that Chewie is alive at all until the end of the movie?
Jay, because this was written by a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
It's true. You're right.
Literally, like, the whole movie is just like, okay, I want him to zap everything. It's like, all right, JJ, we need an actual script and plot before we can make Palpatine electrocute everything.
We'll get to zapping in a little bit, because I actually do want to talk about zapping, Zimzamity Zoobly, a little bit later. You'll Miss Me has this bass radio jockey style narrator that works over Babu Frick very well. The tail end of They'll Need a Crane, a song about being at the end of a relationship with neither member of it wants to actually take the step to break up, plays over Zori and Poe's conversation on the roof. Very, very good. Birdhouse in Your Soul playing over the Vision Connection duel was fan-fucking-tastic. Particle Man talks about Triangle Man just as Ray finds the Pyramid Hologram Wayfinder thing. As Leia dies, the song Someone Keeps Moving My Chair plays, with Kylo looking around realizing she's dying, and the song blares Mr. Horrible, Mr. Horrible. Very, very good.
That's fucking great.
When Kylo Ren throws his lightsaber, whip sound effect from the Minimum Wage song plays with the whip and a hya as he throws the lightsaber. Very good. Road Movie to Berlin playing over the fleets arriving over Exegol added such a heavy and defeated feel to it. Very good. I Palindrome's I, a song about killing your family member to get someone's inheritance, plays over Rey's introduction to Palpatine. See the Seed of the Grandfather keep unwinding literally plays over the last shot of Palpatine in that first scene. It then cuts to She's Actual Size, a song that has a real mass destruction feel despite being about love of this titaness woman, plays over that, which the following scene, which is also very good. The Statue Got Me High kicks in just as Papa Pelt starts sucking the energy out of Ben and Ray, which is so fucking funny and also terrible wording on my part.
Stop,
Jesus Christ.
Stop. I really, of all the things I needed to hear today, Papa Palps started sucking.
Yeah.
It's not one of them.
That was terrible.
The wonderful word picture you've painted here for us tonight,
Yeah, I'm so sorry, audience. I'm so sorry. The song Spider played in episode 2 at the very beginning when Palpatine is addressing the Jedi Council at the beginning of the movie. And the song Spider comes back here at the end when Palps throws Rey into the fucking throws Kylo into the fucking chasm and seems to have all won. And it is my favorite thing to come out of this entire fucking rotation. It is the weird song that just is about not trusting the spider. It's like 48 seconds long, and it's coming from the beginning of his machinizations to his greatest, not his greatest triumph, but his greatest return. Beautiful. Narrow Your Eyes is deeply romantic over Rey and Kylo scene, and that sucked. It does say the lyrics, now let's chase the cold, hard fact that our love is never coming back, just as Ben falls dead, so I guess that's kind of great. But They Might Be Giants did betray me in this scene. And then it's pretty appropriate, I think, that this entire experiment ends on the song See the Constellation. Can you hear what I see in the sky? Repeated are the final lyrics we hear from Apollo 18 at minute 2:47 seconds. And that is They Might Be Giants. And now I'm sad as we say goodbye to They Might Be Giants rotation.
Moment in history. They might be Star Wars.
They Might Be Star Wars says farewell.
So how does it feel letting the They Might Be Giants rotation go?
I miss them, and I'm very not looking forward to watching Phantom Menace like a normal person next week.
Just watching Phantom Menace, just fully plain, just Phantom Menace.
Just having to listen to one of these movies again fills me with existential dread, rather than just it being in the distance, drowned out by whatever They Might Be Giants is playing today, which does not have a bass sound to it at all. It's all over the place. Always exciting, always surprising, even when it doesn't work. And then I have to listen to Star Wars movies again, and I'm not looking forward to that.
You know, you mentioned what was playing when Kylo was thrown into the pit. Would that not have been so much better if he just straight up fucking died there? That would have been hilarious. If that's how you kill off a major character. Just,
that moment is one of my biggest laughs. It is my biggest laugh in the entire movie. Every time I laugh at that because it's so over the top and so Palpatine. As I once fell, so too will the last Skywalker.
Like, Motherfucker, no one dies from fall damage except for Mace Windu so far.
No,
Supposedly.
but
we know you're
there's
out there, Mace.
Now there's a fuck ton of Star Wars fans who are like, no, Mace is definitely alive. I have all this evidence that it doesn't exist.
We did mention that different universes working in different ways, so maybe that's just... But why would people continue to try? Palpatine, why did you try to throw him when you know it doesn't work? I mean, it didn't kill you.
Yeah, that was the whole point of your campy dad joke.
Which was very good, by the way. My favorite line in the entire movie.
There should have been a moment after the fact, after he throws. Well, wait a second. Hold on.
Maybe I didn't
work on me.
Let's work through this one. Hold on.
Hold on. Ray, hold on a moment. I know you're all the Jedi over there, but let's workshop this a moment.
You and the Jedi, you hold on a moment. Hold on. I'll get back to you.
Speaking of, I really hate, we've talked about this before, I really hate the end of Palpatine. I didn't hate it up until this watch, but I hate it now.
Yeah.
Because, I'll tell you why. So, the entire point of the scene is that it's this climactic, he's all the Sith, she's all the Jedi. That's the point of the scene. So, she beats him with 2 lightsabers instead of the Force.
Yeah.
It's super dumb and I hate it.
It's great.
I know it's a really simple realization, but she should have tore him apart with the Force or something, or propelled light out of her hand so powerful that he burned to death.
Yeah, but aren't they aren't these 2 the most powerful lightsabers basically in fucking they're these mythical fucking lightsabers at this point.
Leia's random lightsaber that was never used except for training and the baby killer 5000.
That fucking lightsaber at this point is the fucking... It's the item you get at the very end of some shitty RPG that came out on the PlayStation 2. It's this is the greatest weapon in the game. You're going to use it for 30 minutes.
This is the most powerful blade. It subsists on the many children and the many Tusken Raiders it murdered, but you don't have to think about that. It's just very powerful and very good. It's a good thing.
All that matters is this is important because we said it's important all of a sudden.
And Luke definitely was wrong to throw it over his shoulders and by going, don't want that thing. The baby killer. Child killer.
So fucking why
This is the episode. This is the episode. Go off.
So Palpatine's just there lightning, that works all the time. So he starts Rey, and Rey's oh, but I have 2 lightsabers, and he's oh no, I'm dead, and then he dies. And then Rey just fucking falls over dead for reasons.
Yeah.
That's what bothered me.
It's not even she used the Force. It was just I guess maybe we're supposed to believe she's blocking with the Force but using the lightsabers. In which case, why do you need either one of the items separately?
That's why it should have been the Force.
Yeah.
She just dies.
It just dies because she held a couple lightsabers for a second.
Or and this also feeds into what Jay was saying. Was that whole moment where all the Jedi are talking to her and she's tripping balls looking up at space? Was that just them giving her just enough light force to finish the job and then
was she
fall
already
over dead? Then on the same note, why didn't she, like Jay said, why didn't she just fucking use the Force if that's what was happening?
So in order for Rey to live through this, she had to have all of the Jedi give her their Force essence, and also Kylo Ren.
What you're
at
not
that point,
hearing,
it's kind of maybe I should just die. I love Rey, but that's a lot of people.
What you're not hearing is Qui-Gon Jinn's voice in the back of Rey's head, well, Rey, all the Jedi are here to give you the powers, and really all you have to do is put both of your arms up and block the lightning. Really elementary move. We teach it to Padawans almost immediately. You do this, and then you're blocking. That's all I need you to do. Just put them up. And we needed all the Jedi for this for some reason. Just put the arms up.
It's not a power the Sith would teach you.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
Oh my god, I know why Rey says she's a Skywalker at the end.
I hate where this is going.
No. So she's laying there on the ground on Exegol, tripping fucking balls, and all of a sudden in the back of her head, after all this shit's going down, she just hears, "Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?"
All right, that was good.
And she realizes, oh, they're talking to me. So she takes the name Skywalker because she hears the youngling.
What the fuck are you talking about?
No, so all these Jedi are speaking to Rey.
It's nice to be on this side of this for once.
All the Jedi are speaking to Rey.
Hold on, no,
and
shut up.
In the middle of the
Shut up. Stop. So what you just said is the
Fucking A.
It's the murdered Jedi kids that Anakin's after her in her final moments. I'm crying. So in her final moments, they talk to her, and she's. So the murdered children give her the power to defeat Palpatine.
No.
No, stop. No, this is what you said. You need to hear me out. And her response to seeing the murdered children say, "Master Skywalker, what are you going to do?" before seeing Anakin murder those children is to say, "I like the child murderer. I'm going to take his name."
No, I'm saying, so she's hearing all these Jedi. Like, she hears Anakin, and she hears Obi-Wan, and then she just hears one little voice in the back of her head that just says, "Master Skywalker, what are we going to do?" So she thinks that the voice is calling her Master Skywalker, so she realizes she must take the name Skywalker now.
So you're, if I may, your thought process right now is that in this strange liminal state in which the Jedi currently exist, that included in this group of Jedi giving encouraging words to Rey in this moment of need, there's also the Jedi essence of a small child who is stuck in some sort of time loop round day scenario in which it's constantly reliving its murder by Anakin.
I'm gonna throw up.
How am I following this right now? How did this thought come from Ben and not from me?
I'm gonna throw up.
It's the most insane. Anakin's like, well, hold on over there. I have to give advice to this other Jedi. Hold on, we'll get back to it.
And in this subliminal space, in the course of this alteration that you have made, Anakin also talks to her.
Yes.
And also, may I point out that she's already heard the name Skywalker.
No, she has. But she thinks the youngling is addressing her.
So she thinks that the kid is calling her by the wrong name.
Yes.
And she
like,
goes,
"Oh, that sounds good."
Yeah, I might as well just keep doing that. That's
yes.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
I don't know how far into this episode we are, but I cannot continue. I just had a mental breakdown of a laughing fit. I'm crying. I'm gonna throw up.
What I loved was sitting here for once, just sipping my drink, enjoying watching you two fall over for some reason. I had to wade fucking through those connections of yours and try to get us a fucking offering, or at least an explanation, an apology even at this rate.
Yeah, I think the audience and us deserve an apology for whatever happened in your head there.
I take no liability for what it is that comes out of my mouth during this project that we've created.
Well,
the makers of Star Wars Every Week Forever are not liable for any emotional distress caused by
Ben's absolute batshit.
I thought we were
ADHD.
getting another long-winded pod racing reference.
Yeah, me
but,
too.
like,
That's what Jay thought was happening.
somehow it went so much worse. Hey, it's the end of another trilogy here at Star Wars Every Week Forever. Aren't we supposed to do a weird Wikipedia?
I was laughing so hard I forgot about Weird Wikipedia.
Oh my God! Stroke of genius. We should do Weird Wikipedia bingo. We need to draft up a Weird Wikipedia bingo board.
That's a fantastic idea.
Or like things that are mentioned in thing that's mentioned in the article.
We have to figure out a way to generalize it, like not a specific article, but like
because that'll take ages.
Okay, let's workshop this on the next episode.
We'll figure this out. Yeah.
Let's spend a
show. I'm saying I think it's a good idea.
Let's do it.
We got a canon novel, Star Wars Queen's Hope. Upcoming young adult novels set to be written by E.K. Johnston, focusing on Senator Padme Amidala during the Clone Wars.
Ugh.
Link it, because I'm pretty sure this is a book that was never published.
It's set to release November 2nd this year.
Oh, okay. It is an EU. I thought it was one of the many books that were canceled.
No, it's canon. E.K. Johnson. Why do I know that name? Why do I know the name E.K. Johnson?
I don't know. Why do you know the name E.K. Johnston?
I don't know. That's a good question.
She wrote...
I'll look it up on Al Gore's internet.
The Story of Owen, Dragon Slayer of Trondheim. Exit Pursued by a Bear is a great title for a book.
Oh, she wrote the Ahsoka novel.
Okay.
I think. Wait.
And more importantly, she wrote Exit Pursued by a Bear, which is which is just so.
Oh no, I was wrong. It wasn't
Pursued by a Bear.
Correction, it wasn't the Ahsoka novel. She wrote the story By Whatever Sun for the anthology From a Certain Point of View, which focuses on Ahsoka and Miara Lart?
Sorry, I'm still caught up on the Shakespeare reference novel.
What?
You really are.
Exit Pursued by a Bear.
Oh.
That's a very good title, to be clear.
It's
E.K. Johnson.
Very good
it turns out
title.
I know nothing about you as a person, but that's a fantastic title to a book.
Oh, she did write the Ahsoka novel. You were right. And the Queen's, this book is a part of a trilogy. It is the last of a trilogy.
Oh, it was her.
Yes. And also she wrote Exit Pursued by a Bear.
We're going to need an Exit Pursued by a Bear counter here soon.
No, it's just a soft zoom on the cover of the book every time it's named. I know Jay's editing style by now.
If I can find a cover, I haven't been able to find the book. I just know it's a Shakespeare reference. Okay. This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. I'm gonna go.
It's been Weird Wikipedia.
It's been Weird Wikipedia.
And this Every Week Forever,
and I'm gonna go by Exit Pursued by a Bear.
Jay is being pursued by a bear, and Ben looks concerned. What's going on there, buddy?
I'm looking at stage shots of Exit Pursued by a Bear. The play.
This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. Good night.
Friend of the show, E.K. Johnston.
Friend of the show, William Shakespeare.
Holy shit. Was that the first episode without a friend of the show shout out?
Nah, it's not anymore.
Oh. Hello, audience. Goodbye, audience.
If you enjoyed that episode, why not like and subscribe? Also, share it with a couple friends. Bring them into this hellscape that we've done to ourselves. You can catch brand new episodes every single Wednesday on Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, pretty much every other platform you get your podcasts on. If you'd like to extend the suffering, you can catch us over on twitter.com at SWEWF. We post direct links to brand new episodes every week as soon as we upload them, and you can catch the occasional other dumb Star Wars take, and who wouldn't want that? Catch you guys later.